As you can see, I'm going to be painting BTS's new album, Wings, teaser image of V. I loved this image the moment I saw it and decided I had to paint it. I just loved the pink look and kind of his whole expression. But I hope you guys enjoy this painting. At the end, I am going to kind of talk through my layers and a little bit about kind of where I was at when I was painting it and my kind of mindset of how I painted it. So if you are interested in listening to that, it'll be at the end. And I hope you guys enjoy watching this painting. I'll see you guys at the end of the video. Hey guys, so this is our final product. This is what the painting looks like now at the end. I did do a couple more touch-ups after the actual video is done recording because I kind of waited a little bit and came back to it the next morning just because it's usually best to take a look at it after, because when you've been painting it all at one time, it's kind of hard to see little itty-bitty flaws or things that you think could use a little bit of extra work. But I figured I'd take you through kind of the whole process, just through my layers and everything, just so you can kind of see beginning to end kind of how this painting came to be, I guess, in a little bit more detail, I guess. So here, let me turn all my layers off and we'll end up at just our black screen here. So I always like to start with the back, like I said, just a black back, because then as you paint, you can kind of see where you're kind of missing some color or, you know, some little extras that you can add. So that kind of overlays and covers up pieces, so when I actually paint over it, the background will line up perfectly on the edges. So I don't have to worry about that. So I like to paint in farther than I actually need to. And so since his scarf and the jacket was so detailed, I didn't really want to do a base painting like I did with the face and the hair. I kind of just like to get the color flat down there, and then I spelled the here kind of rough on his neck. Well, I kind of spent a little bit more time on it, but I did a base jacket laying down, because it does look, when you look close to it, it does look black, but it actually is slightly different. Like here, it has slight blues into it, and over here you kind of get some of that pink that's coming from the light. And then I changed it tonally just a little bit with a brightness contrast layer, just to kind of make it a little bit darker, like it's supposed to be. And then I did the jacket background where I added in all the little red squares here and the bluish to black kind of that went around it. I just did it roughly because I figured the white lines that go over the jacket would kind of fill in the missing gapped areas. So there's that. And then we have on our jacket lines, and I did it very jaggedy, kind of like the stitching area over here. So as you can see, when I was painting, I kind of just did little jaggedy random roundy circles to kind of give it to that kind of stitch texture look that you kind of had over here down at the bottom, because I figured it would mimic the same. Of course, it's the same jacket. And then I added some highlighting pieces to kind of give his like under sweater, I guess, thing he had going on here, as well as the highlights on the little jeweled pieces. So you can see without the highlights, and then kind of with it. It kind of makes it pop more, and you can kind of see more of that red. I do like to, if you notice when I was painting this area, it doesn't look too good, so I always blend. I always have a blending layer that's separate from the actual paint, like the actual first layer of it, because just in case I don't like how I blended or something, I can just quickly erase it, start over with the blending, or just erase parts of it, and I'm not going to actually lose the small little lines that I made for the coloring. So here's my blending. Kind of makes it a little bit darker, but I like to blend because it kind of grabs the colors then from around it to help it smoothen and seem more natural. And then we did his scarf. I didn't do anything extra with this. I just kind of went in with the small brush and kind of just painted it all in. No need for anything extra detail. Didn't have any highlight parts or anything like that, so I thought it looked fine. And then I did his earring, and then of course the earring detail, which kind of gave it more of that lined in texture and the little highlight of the red here, as well as adding in the line from where his ear is actually pierced. And then I did the necklace. Necklace was a little bit harder just for the blending around, because you can see how I first started, because from how I actually painted this doesn't actually match what the picture was anymore. And then we have his eye that I did. I made it smoothed again. I like to always paint a nice good area around the eye, because usually you'll get the nice crease lines in there, And then usually like with females, you get more eyelashes going. Sometimes I'll just use a special brush that is just an eyelash brush. So you click it once and there's all your beautiful eyelashes. So I like to use that more than to actually paint the individual eyelashes. It just makes it seem a little bit more realistic, and it already has kind of like that mascara effect to it. So I do use some brushes that are specialized for things like that instead of actually painting it. And then I have eye highlights where I add the little sparks of light, or like shimmery, glittery moments, I guess. And I kind of to emphasize the light in the eyes. And then I added a little bit more texture to the eyebrow and shape to kind of give it a little bit more of a lined look, like the separate hairs, and to add a little bit more of the brown that he kind of has going over on this side where the light didn't really hit. And then his lips, which were one of my favorite parts to paint, because that jacket probably took me at least the most time. The jacket and the hair took me the most, but the jacket more than anything. Oh, that jacket was a nightmare. But, so we got the little spots in the eyes, the lips, a little bit flat, but still looked really nice. I had some of the textured lines. I got a smidge bit of the highlights on the teeth. And then I'll go in and I'll add the highlights. I'll go in and add the extra little lines, the creases from his lips maybe being a little bit chapped, or just to give it more of that effect. Oh, the eyes and the lips are some of my favorite parts to paint. The hair is just frustrating me sometimes. And then I just have an other layer where I kind of got rid of some of the flyaways and things like that. And then his hair, I have 3 layers for the hair alone. So I have a base coloring layer, so I filled in some more of what the color should be, some darker spots, some of the transitions between his more blonde hair and the pink. And then I kind of went in and I just add lines, because I use like almost 3 to 4 different size brushes. I'll use a big one to kind of get your base colors in, then a smaller one to kind of create the lines, and then an even smaller one that's almost like itty bitty little baby fine. So it kind of gives an effect that I painted almost every single little hair. It kind of gives it more of that little textured, and then I'll do it so I can do these little itty bitty flyaways that go over his eyebrow or come off and cover his face a little bit here, or some that kind of come off, go over his ear. You know, just little itty bitty effects to make it seem more natural, because no one has 0 flyaways. I mean, we can try and Photoshop them all out, but nope, I try to make it seem as real as I can. And then I do what I call a hair flyaway. So this is using that itty bitty fine brush, like I was saying, to give it more of that hair texture. So like how it was before. And then when you use an even itty bittier small brush, and then you come in here on the ends and you kind of just paint it off. It's kind of a technique. You can't be like scared when you're painting this hair and stuff like this. You just got to be confident with your brush strokes, or else sometimes it'll just get a little messy. And then I just did a little touch-ups, you know, a little bit of blending here around the necklace. I did some more blending. You can see a little bit more here on the face. And then I always stamp on my little logo somewhere, so I picked the earring I thought was a nice place. I always do it usually somewhere on jewelry or in a tattoo or something like that. And that is the painting. My favorite part probably has to be his eyes. I thought adding this little shine detail really made it pop, as well as the lips. That jacket, it was just a nightmare painting. I had to take a break from it like 3 times. But overall, this painting took me about 5 to 6 days to get completely done. I didn't work all the time on it. Mainly on the weekends I spent my most time painting this. And then just a few hours each day, just so I could look at it with fresh eyes the next day. So here it is. I hope you guys really enjoyed this painting. Let me know what you guys like about it, your favorite part, or who you'd like to see me paint next. But V's painting from their BTS's Wings album was one of my favorite images. I'm very glad I didn't pick my second option, because his jacket or shirt would have been a nightmare as well to paint, if not more of a nightmare. But until the next video, Bye, guys.